being condescending. Just been warned, alright? Let's move forward amicably.
Okay, well, check this out. First of all, you throwing too many big words at me. Okay, now, because I don't understand them, I'm gonna take them as disrespect. Watch your mouth and help me with the say.
Okay, see, now you found yourself a nigga. You looking for a nigga? Nigga here now, see?
My mind is so spectacular. Open up your aperture. You don't like the light that I be shining, bitch. You Dracula. Southern draw vernacular. Flip you like a spatula. Knew that I was built to put this word up on my scapula. I've been on this road so long, my tires bald. I don't wanna text and no, I don't wanna call. Came in this shit running, bitch. I don't know how to crawl. We ain't never folding, I'm holding the highest card. Look, okay, grew up running post routes. Now I'm on the cash route. Better call the plumber, that boy spitting like a bass spout. All these bad women in this club, fuck is you mad about? Word to all my estheticians, boy, I'm about to lash out. Straight from St. John's to the east side. Jigging since a knee high. Watch the way I put on for my state, nigga, yeehaw. Respecting no everything. Crazy how I made it to the league from the bleach eyes. Boy, my shit hair wrong. Black, rich, and bare arms. Smoking on that yogi, this shit stronger than some bare arms. Goku, I'm in rare form. You cannot prepare for him. When I swing, it's like a carnivore. This shit ain't fair for him. Brought intellect back to this rap shit. You niggas need chapstick. Shit been dry for way too long, and I'm the matchstick. You niggas Nickelodeon me. I'm more like Cap Nick. Cap a nigga, throw him in front of me. Party favors on the table, you can pick and choose. I would be lying if I said it, I don't get confused. I'm just a player in the game and I don't pick the rules. Why trouble always seem to find the ones with shit to lose. About to blow like we just lit the fuse. We double dutch into this dough, I get this shit in twos. Push the button, get it started, put that shit in cruise. A little dust up on his heart, I barely get to use. A fool flatters himself, a wise man flatters the fool. Man, I just came to get it started like mechanics with tools. Cause in my hood, if you don't pack a tool, you planning to lose. These young boys deserve Oscars, they be acting a fool. A couple loose screws, but they hammer accurate. Ooh, I know some niggas stuck on drugs and manufacture it too. School of hard knocks, we all got our bachelor's. Fool, no cap and gowns, but we all had the master. Party favors on the table, you can pick and choose. I would be lying if I said it, I don't get confused. I'm just a player in the game and I don't pick the rules. Why trouble always seem to find the ones with shit to lose. I'm dumb lit, it's about to be a late night. Fresh wax, shawty, show me what it tastes like. Niggas know me in my city like I'm Wayne Wright. Got them looking up to me and we the same height. Ooh, I got it bad, deep in my bag. Foot on the gas, they cannot last. Swimming with the sharks, bitch, that's a great white. Never stopping, we don't even need no brake lights. Say she don't smoke, but she always smoke with me, yeah. Backwards in the air, back up in the ovaries, yeah. All my ops, they stay running like they over easy. Yeah. Even my masseurs can't just get too close to me, yeah. Shout out to Next. Soon as the ink dry, we count out the checks, yeah. I never flex. I bought up a business, you bought up a section. I'm at the top of my class, yeah. Y'all never learned from your lesson. Skywalker gave me the force, yeah. Turn this into an obsession, yeah. I couldn't wait on the team, cooking shit up with just me rolling play, yeah. Things never are what they seem, but we know the facts, yeah. Charging that shit to the game, but now I pull up with a battery pack, yeah. The bigger they are, the harder they fall, and we can just leave it at that. I'm dumb lit, it's about to be a late night. Fresh wax, shawty, show me what it tastes like. Niggas know me in my city like I'm Wayne Wright. Got them looking up to me and we the same height. Ooh, I got it bad, deep in my bag. Foot on the gas, they cannot last. Swimming with the sharks, bitch, that's a great white. Never stopping, we don't even need no brake lights. Big bro, why they call you big bro? Every time we hit the bank, we deposit zip codes. Well connected with the streets like we out in Skid Row.
What's good, everybody? Welcome to the Pull-Up Show. I'm your host, Mr. BJ Matthews, a.k.a. B. Just before we get started, follow us on the YouTube page, the Pull-Up Basketball Podcast. Like, share, subscribe. All of our YouTube videos. Hit that like button. Y'all come in here. Hit the share, subscribe. Hit that Cash App, $ Slick Rick 1991 son. Again, $ Slick Rick 1991 son. If y'all want to go to the Cash App, Venmo is at BJ/MATHEWS/1. That is our Venmo as well. super stickers and super comments are available. Very simple. All that is basically another way to donate. If you do not have Cash App or Venmo, you guys can go into our chat box on the right-hand corner. You guys can hit that button that says with the $ symbol. You guys can donate that way. Let me just make sure I put this out here, man. When y'all donate to me, bros, that's basically, a way for me to continuously sow back into y'all and give y'all the best content possible. So obviously it's very, very important that you continue to support the podcast. Even if it's not a donation, just simply liking the video and sharing and subscribing. Your boy definitely appreciates and acknowledges. Let's get it popping though. All right, man. So the NBA season is in full effect. Last night we had our first couple games in the NBA season, man. And let me just say to all y'all, man, welcome the hell back to the best part of the year, man. This is like Christmas all over again. This is like, Christmas coming early. We get the chance to watch an 82-game season with high-impact basketball at the highest level, man. I love what I do to continuously, entertain y'all and give y'all the news on a, term-to-term, day-to-day basis, man. So it's going to be a lot of content, a lot of, different new stuff I'll be having this year, just a lot of new fun things. So y'all been in with me for a couple of seasons now, so y'all kind of know how I operate. So this is another year. This is the third year to everybody, man, that's been a part of the pull-up ride. And, yeah, we're going to get this going. But let's get into it, man. Last night, we had two games. Like we had the Boston Celtics and New York Knicks, and we had the LA Lakers and the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Celtics were able to prevail over the Knicks, and the Lakers were able to prevail over the Timberwolves. So title of the video is Jayson Tatum is a superstar, and Anthony Davis is now, this is the Lakers is Anthony Davis's team officially. So before I get into those two things, I really break all that down for y'all. I want to get into like the game, kind of give y'all the, the box scores and stuff like that, game by game. So let's first start with the, first game in the Eastern Conference. Start with the, Boston Celtics, who I also want to say congratulations for them raising up their 18th banner. They are the #1 team in NBA history with most banners, out of any team. So definitely a shout out to the Boston Celtics. Shout out to my man T Sweezy. Boston Celtics, content creator, True to King TV also as well. Both Boston Celtics creators, go and follow those two. At T Sweezy, that's TEESWEEZY, and at True to King TV, TRUDAKING TV, at the True King TV. Those are both Boston Celtics content creators. So go and follow and support them. So shout out to the Celtics for winning the championship last year and overcoming their goal. As y'all can see on the screen, their full team, 2024 world champions. But let's get into the game last night between them and the Knicks and actually what happened. So I'm gonna kind of, go into this, pretty quickly, pretty swiftly, breaking stuff down as I go. I won't say I want to go to every single number, but I'm gonna go ahead and just make this very, very clear for y'all, make sure y'all understand what's going on. So if we look at just both sides of both teams, obviously the Celtics start with the Knicks. You have Mikal Bridges starting with OG Anunoby, Karl-Anthony Towns, Jalen Brunson, and Josh Hart. That is the starting five for the New York Knicks. And as I look at that starting five, you got two wings, you got a center, you got two guards, one offensive guard in Jalen Brunson, one defensive guard in Josh Hart. You got a two-way wing in Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby, and you have a center in Karl-Anthony Towns, the offensive big man who can score the basketball with the best of them. So that in itself, let me start actually with the team stats. So you look at the field goal percentage. They both shot presumably well from the field, over 50%. Boston shot 50%. New York shot 55%. Boston shot 47% from three to New York's 36%, and they got twice as many threes up, which in my personal opinion was the difference in the game. Free throws, 87-75 went to Boston. Rebounds, 40-34 went to Boston. 20-33 assists went to Boston. 2-6 steals went to Boston. 12-4 turnovers went to Boston. They had less turnovers, blocks even at 3. So let's see. Fouls went to New York. They had less fouls, 12-15. Largest lead was 1 for New York and 35 for Boston. As y'all come here, smash that like button. So that is the team number. So it looks like Boston has pretty much secured all the team stats, which really is kind of what happens when you win by that big of a margin. Boston, in my personal opinion, had the game won in the first half. They, I think, had 40 points in the first quarter, and they had 70 in the first half altogether. So When you score that many points and that many buckets, and you're able to, defend it, whatever they're able to defend, you're most likely going to win the game, 8, 9 times out of 10. So I'm gonna talk about just how I think Boston's looking, not just right now, but for the rest of the season, because there's some things I really saw that are very glaring. But that's the team stats. Boston won pretty much 80-90% of all team stats across the board against the New York Knicks. So if you look at the numbers individually, like I said, that's the starting five for the Knicks, and outside of Jalen Brunson, nobody had over 20 points. Mikal Bridges had 16. OG Anunoby had 4. Karl Anthony Towns had 12. Jalen Brunson had 22. Josh Hart had 12 points. Off the bench is actually where the production came from scoring. Cameron Payne had 11 points. And Miles McBride, 22 points off the bench, 8 for 10 field goal percentage shooting, 4 for 5 from the three-point line, 2 for 3 from the free throw line. He was a guy that came in not only just making shots, but very confident in his shot. When you shoot the ball, you can kind of tell if a player is confident in their jump shot. Miles McBride looked like he's been putting a lot of work this offseason. He was prepared to take over that, position since Dante DiVincenzo has left the team. He's that guy in line to come off the bench and, create instant production scoring the basketball. So Cameron Payne and Miles McBride both coming off the bench. They lost Isaiah Hartenstein. Obviously, they lost Julius Randle. Mitchell Robinson's out right now. And Dante DiVincenzo is no longer there for the Knicks. So it's a different Knicks team looking and going to this upcoming season. A lot of people had the Knicks as a top team in the Eastern Conference. We'll wait and see what happens. But last night they got manhandled by the Boston Celtics. Which let's go to their side. The Celtics starting 5 lineup is Jayson Tatum, Al Horford, Jrue Holiday, Derek White, and Jaylen Brown. All of the guys are in double figures. Lowest guy had 11 points, which was Al Horford. You had 2 guys and you have more than 20 points in Derek White and Jaylen Brown, 24 and 23. Jrue Holiday had 18 points. And then you had Tatum with 37, which we're going to talk about and give him his respect in a minute. But just well-balanced scoring for the starting 5. As I said before, Boston Celtics starting 5 is probably the best starting 5 in the NBA. Yes, I said it. It's arguably the best starting 5. There's other teams in the East that you can look at could be, possibly be right there. You got, Philly, in my personal opinion. After the ass whooping that New York Knicks took last night, like I told y'all before about the Knicks, man. I think a lot of people, and this is their first game, regular season wise. I'm just telling you, based on what I saw last season, I think a lot of it was just more so them having a bunch of good guys, but no real star. Jalen Brunson's a rising star, but he's not a guy you can look at and say, well, I ain't seen him take over, getting his team deep into the playoffs. I ain't seen it. So we'll see what happens. But, last night it was able to see kind of the difference between, Jayson Tatum against Jalen Brunson. Off the bench, they had 1 guy in double figures and Sam Harris with 10 points. So let's talk about it, man. Let's see what actually, in my personal opinion, what happened in this game. Like I said, bro, Boston and New York, these are 2 teams who a lot of people have, possibly in the Eastern Conference Finals. Okay. Now, when I look at the Knicks, what I saw with them with the new acquisitions, and a lot of this stuff I can just kind of see without even really seeing a whole bunch of, samples. I look at the personnel, I look at the field, I look at how, guys interact with each other, I look at body language, I look at all that to kind of, tell, how a team I feel like is going to gel. So the whole idea was with the Knicks, let's go all defense. That's what the Knicks have been basically looked at, to go all defense. They brought Mikal Bridges in. They brought OG Anunoby in. They got Josh Hart there. They brought all these defensive guys to try to, make up for, their offense, whatever, and let Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns like they're going to be the first and second option on this team. Now, Karl Anthony Towns only played 24 minutes last night, so that was a limited amount of minutes, and Jalen Brunson played 25. Like I said, the game was over pretty much in the first half. So you really didn't. I think Tibbs looked at it like, okay, let's go ahead and let some of our guys like Miles McBride, who was hot, let him get his minutes. Cameron Payne get his minutes. And, we'll chalk this loss up, and we'll come back. You know what I'm saying? For the next game, that's what it felt like. Josh Hart at 25 minutes. The only two people that played over 30 minutes was OG Anunoby and Miles Mikal Bridges. So let me start with OG. OG 1 for 7 from the field, over 4 from 3, 2 for 2 from the free throw line, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and 4 points. OG Anunoby was nowhere to be found last night. In my personal opinion, this was a guy that I think a lot of people are looking at like he can be so, make a big difference for the team. I think a lot of people are looking at the record they had last year when they brought OG in. I think they were 17-3 after, the acquisition. But you're talking about the Boston Celtics, a team like this. You can kind of see the difference. Like if it's a difference between having two-way players and having just one-way defensive guys. OG Anunoby is not an elite two-way player. He's a good two-way player. Mikal Bridges is a good two-way player, right? But they're not elite two-way players, right? He's a good two-way player, but, bro, I don't give a damn how off a night you have. You have 4 points in any game in an NBA game when you play 35 minutes. You're not elite. I don't give a damn how bad of a shooting night you have. You scoring 4 points and you making no impact on the defensive end. You're supposed to be guarding Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown. That's what you're supposed to be doing. But I'm gonna get into why I feel like he had a hard time doing so in a minute. But like I said, OG and Mikal Bridges are not elite two-way players. That elite two-way players are giving you 20 plus and locking up on the other side consistently. OG may do that here and there, but he ain't doing that consistently, bro. And now that you've given him apparently the hugest contract in Knicks history, 5-year deal. I don't know the actual figure, but I know it's 5 years. They're paying him as if he's an elite two-way player. So he's going to have to show it this year that he is that type of player, or else they're going to look at it really, like they made a mistake. But OG had an off night last night, did not score, did not stop anybody on the other side. It looked like he was still hurt from that hamstring injury that he suffered last year. That's how he was moving around. Mikal Bridges, in my personal opinion, started getting more aggressive in the second half. 16 points, 7 for 13 from the field, 2 for 7 from the three-point line. He just didn't make much of an impact, until the game was pretty much over. And that's a problem. And they're playing in Boston. That crowd in Boston's a tough crowd. So maybe, he had the jitters or whatever, but, he just didn't show up until really the second half. And really that's really because the game was pretty much done. So, again, if you're telling me OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges against Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown, they're obviously not them. They're good, but they're not them. And that's something I don't need to see for the whole year to see it. They're not those type of players. They're not them. But those are the guys you depend on to stop them and guard them throughout the whole game. And as y'all saw what happened, that was pretty much an ass whooping. Jalen Brunson, I like what I saw from him. He pretty much was solid. Jalen Brunson's, he's a rising star. He's not a superstar. That's another thing too. Is levels to this. Jalen Brunson last year averaged 32 points per game, 3 rebounds, 7.5 assists in the and 44% field goal percent in the playoffs. Jalen Brunson is one of these type of players, bro. Is he's going to, how can I put it? He has the game and he has the skills and he has the toughness to compete anywhere against anybody, right? He has all that. But the one thing I will say again, he's still undersized as a point guard. And as a point guard in this league, when you go up against an elite wing, especially a guy who is defensively capable, like a Jaylen Brown, like who was hounding him last night, it's going to be a tough night for Jalen Brunson. He's going to get his baskets, but it's going to be a lot harder. It's going to take a lot more energy. And that's why I feel like the ceiling is for him, where if you're asking him to be the best player on your team, you're asking a whole lot as far as winning a championship. But Jalen Brunson scoring 22 points in 25 minutes, I mean, he was solid. But I could tell this the amount of energy it took for him to get those baskets. I don't see him dropping 40, 45 points against this team in a series consistently. I don't see it, especially if Jaylen Brown's locked in defensively. As y'all come there, smash that like button, hit the share, subscribe. Talking about NBA season is back in full effect. And that also reminds me too. I will be streaming the game tonight. I'm not so sure if I'll be streaming at the arena with the Clippers, but I will be possibly streaming the game tonight. Calling play-by-play. We'll see what happens. If not, then I'll just do another video like this for my Clipper audience. But yeah, basically the difference of Jalen Brunson was, having to work against Jaylen Brown, a 6'7" athletic wing who's a elite two-way player. Okay. And then last but not least, Karl-Anthony Towns. Karl-Anthony Towns, 12.7 rebounds, and then he had 3 assists, 5 for 9 for the field, 1 for 2 from the three-point line. He's average. It's an average game. 12 points is not good enough for Karl-Anthony Towns. Especially against a team like Boston, who also did not have Kristaps Porzingis. So you have Al Horford you deal with, Drew Holiday, when he guards in the post, Jayson Tatum a little bit. Like, those are matches. And this is the thing with Cat. This is why I said I didn't know who won that trade, because it's just his mentality is he doesn't exploit his size enough. 7 foot, 248 pounds. You have nobody on the court that's big enough to guard you. Now, we saw a few instances last night where he chose to show his size and put him in the paint. But can he do it enough where it's really a threat, where he could really put his imprint? Because 12 points to me is just not enough. And my thing also, the Knicks have to look at him as giving him the basketball. I don't think Mikal Bridges needs to be the number 2 option, especially in a game like that. Is a game where you're supposed to dominate your matchup. If Mikal Bridges has a hot night, so be it. But Karl-Anthony Towns had the mismatch last night, and they didn't even exploit it. Right? So again, this is the first game by the Knicks. I'm not gonna over exaggerate, but I had to, pretty much tell about all that, man, because they shot the ball well, actually, quiet as kept. They shot 55% from the field. But the reason why they lost the game is because Boston was hitting shots from the three-point line. They shot 47%, and they shot 61 threes. And they were pushing the pace to the point where New York couldn't even set up on their defense. They kept moving the ball. They kept setting screens. They kept doing back doors. They had a free-flow Princeton offense going on, dribble drive offense, where they couldn't even set up on defense. I'm talking about the Knicks. So let's give Boston their respect and their credit and tell you what happened. Like I said, all 5 guys were in double figures. Spread the floor around, spread the ball around. Boston, to me, looks like a team that is not even satisfied by winning the championship last year. And you got to give a lot of credit to Joe Mazzulla. You got to give a lot of credit to Joe Mazzulla for basically having this team continuously not settling in just and being satisfied. Right. That's what, like I said, a coach comes in, he's able to, put his imprint in, saying like, we're going to defend this championship. Mazzulla, being a former player himself, understands that it's hard to win a championship or hard to win a title. It's damn near impossible to go back to back. Right. How many teams can you count have been back to back champions? Right. In my lifetime, the Lakers, the Heat, and the Warriors. Those are only 3 teams in me watching basketball for 20 years that went back to back. Right? Usually a lot it's one and dones, and you gotta switch it. So you gotta be completely locked in. You have to be self-motivated to be able to, keep having that fire lit under you. And that's what Boston showed me last night. They came in there guns blazing against the New York Knicks, who was supposed to be a team that's, supposed to compete against them. Knicks did like they didn't even belong on the same court. Right. So let's start with, the utility guys. Let's start with Drew Holiday and Derek White, man. Look, you see the one thing I see about Boston that they have the upper hand over the Knicks is that They got multiple two-way players. Very good elite two-way players. Tatum and Brown are elite two-way players. Something the Knicks do not have, not one elite two-way player. Derek White and Jrue Holiday are good two-way players. Very good at their position at guard. So while they're lighting the three ball up on one side and hitting shots and, you know, moving the ball around, they get on the other side and make it just as intensified on defense, switching, talking, rotating. You can't exploit none of their guys on defense. And that's why I say you pretty much have the game one where I can outscore you and I can guard you. And that's what we've seen. And when you have that crowd yelling and screaming after every three they make, that puts more and more anxiety into the Knicks, where they're taking bad shots because they got to try to match Boston's three-point shooting, which they don't have enough three-point shooting on New York to match Boston. So that's just another problem. You got Karl-Anthony Towns. You got, looks like Miles McBride coming off the bench, but, you know, pretty much other than that, they don't really have a lot of, you know, consistent three-point shooters. Mikal Bridges is a streaky three-point shooter. OG Anunoby is a average three-point shooter, below average. Jalen Brunson can hit threes, but he's more so, you know, inside the mid-range and, you know, getting into the basket. So you don't have enough outside three-point shooting to match what the Celtics were able to put up last night. And that's how you got your ass kicked by almost 30 points, because threes will always outweigh twos. Right? But Jrue Holiday and Derek White are the ultimate utility guys. Do the dirty work. Take hella efficient shots. What is it? 7 for 9 for Jrue Holiday, 8 for 13 for Derek White. Great shots. Good production. Know their roles. Do what they're supposed to do. Al Horford, 26 minutes. He had 11 points last night, man. Just, you know, as old as he is, he's still, you know, a very valuable player. And like I said, with no Kristaps Porzingis, you got guys like Sam Hauser stepping up. You got guys like Luke Cornett stepping up, running the floor. There's always somebody, pitching in. The only guy who really shot terrible was Peyton Pritchard and Xavier Tillman, and they still beat the hell out the Knicks. Pretty much didn't even matter. Like, Boston is just playing like they're free, like they got this championship. You got your main guys, and Tatum and Brown only played 30 minutes last night. They basically got a half day last night. They pretty much worked a half day. You know how you go into your work, you pretty much, you know, you're supposed to be on an 8-hour shift, you only work 4 hours. That's what Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown did last night. Now, like I said, Jaylen Brown last night, but one thing I've seen him do is he knows what he has to do defensively. I think Jaylen Brown's going for all defensive first team this year. I think he's going for all defensive first team. He was all over Jalen Brunson. And he's in passing lanes. He looks athletic. He's still athletic and springy. He was hitting shots. I really strongly believe him getting snubbed out that USA team is going to put a battery in his back to, you know, go out there and do something that, you know, create new goals, right? Now you want to be all, because I don't think Jaylen Brown made all NBA team last year, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody put it in the comment section, but I don't think he made all NBA team last year. So when you got that and a guy defensively is locked in like him, it's problems. It's problems. So I think he's strongly going for that all defensive first team. I think he's going to go for all NBA team this year. That's why I strongly believe he's gearing up for. But let's talk about the man of the hour, Jayson Tatum, bro. Let's talk about what he did last night. 37 points. What's this? Hold on, let me put this up here. I messed up. Went too soon. Went too soon, y'all. 1 second. 37 points, 14-18 for the field, 8 for 11 from the 3-point line, 10 assists, 4 rebounds, and 1 turnover, and 1 block, and 1 steal. That's the stat I'm looking at. The 1 turnover with 10 assists, 37 points. So, like I said, Jayson Tatum is a superstar. He became a superstar when he won the championship. let me make this very clear for y'all real quick. I want to say this before we move on to the Lakers and Timberwolves game. I was a guy who was very critical of Jayson Tatum. I said Jayson Tatum was not about two and 3 years ago. He wasn't a superstar. I thought he was getting too much publicity, too much praise. And he had not earned that title yet. Well, after he won this championship last year and how he was playing, and then you look at, what he's done year after year, statistic wise, he's averaged, what is this? 26 points, 30 points, 26, 26, 23, 15, 13 in the regular season. Every single year he's playing the majority of the games. The last 3 years he's played more than 70 games. The bubble or 2020, 21, he played 64 out of 72 games. 2019, 2020, he played 66 games. 79 in 2018, 2019, 2017, 2018, 80 games. So he's always pretty much available. Right? And, rebounding, 8 rebounds a game, pretty much, the last 3 seasons, and then 7 and 6 for 5. Every single year his numbers goes up. So he's getting better every single year. This is his 7th season in the league, if I'm not mistaken. No, I'm sorry, this 8th season. He's 27 years old. He's at a point now where he understands who he is as a player. He got the championship. He's a 3-time All-NBA first team player. He's I think a 6-time All-Star. If I'm not, I think a 5-time All-Star. He has pretty much accomplished all. He has 2 Olympic gold medals. He's not been on an all-defensive team, but he pretty much done everything you can think of in 8 years. If Jayson Tatum retired today, he's already in the Hall of Fame. Think about that. At 27 years old, he hasn't even reached his prime yet. He's already in the Hall of Fame. Already. Now, I understand there's a lot of people who do not like or who say Jayson Tatum is, kind of whack or corny or whatever. Bro, don't take away from his game. This man has literally been consistent every single year getting into the playoffs. He's not missed 1 playoffs. He's been to 5 conference finals, Eastern Conference finals. He's been to 2 finals appearances, and he's won 1 championship. Name me somebody in the East who's done that, who's been more successful in the last 7, 8 years. Right? Is it Donovan Mitchell? Is it Trae Young? Is it Joel Embiid? Is it Giannis Antetokounmpo? Right? Is it Tyrese Halliburton? Is it shit? Who else can I think of in the Eastern Conference? The only person I could say who's been as successful but still ain't been as successful within the last, 6 years is Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler is the only player who's had the amount of team success that Jayson Tatum has beaten him head to head. He's the only guy. And even he doesn't have a championship. So what I'm trying to tell y'all is, man, Jayson Tatum to me is he's solidified. He's a solidified player. If you want to put him as a top 5 player, go right ahead, be my guest. Because he's pretty much done everything you guys ask him to do and more. And yet he still hasn't gotten this full respect. So I just want to put this out here, man. Jayson Tatum is a superstar. He's a top 5 player if you want to put him there. And he's pretty much done beating everybody in his path. He's beat Joel Embiid. He's beat Giannis Antetokounmpo. He's beat Jimmy Butler 1 year, even though Jimmy's beaten him twice. He done beaten everybody in his path. So you gotta give respect where it's due, man. Jayson Tatum is on a mission. He's ready to, defend his title, it looks like, and they look locked in. They look very locked in. They looked very good as a group last night. So shout out to the Celtics. But let's go into the second team as y'all come here and smash the like. But let's go into the Lakers and the Timberwolves. Lakers and Timberwolves last night kind of went down to the wire to the 4th quarter. So I want to show y'all, what actually happened, stat by stat. And then we're going to get into, the actual title of what this topic is. But as we see right here, numbers, 41% for Minnesota, 44% for the Lakers. 31% from three for the Timberwolves, 16% from the Lakers. Wow. So they shot the ball extremely bad from three-point line. Free throws, 80%, 84% for the Lakers, 74% for Minnesota, which Minnesota, and they let them in free throw attempts as well. Rebounds went to the Timberwolves 47-46. Assists went to the Lakers 17-22. Steals went to the Lakers 7-4. Blocks went to Lakers 8-1. Turnovers went to the Lakers. Lakers had 7 to Minnesota 16. They both had 22 fouls. Largest lead for the Timberwolves 2, 19 for the Lakers. Come here, hit that like button. Y'all come in here. So numbers for the most part, they're almost pretty much even. If you look at all the stats together, the Lakers had I would say more of the defensive stats and more of the crucial possessions. But as far as the overall scale, like they basically had, it was pretty much either even or Minnesota had won the stat or Lakers won the stat. It wasn't like a landslide like the Celtics and Knicks. But look at the box score. Ant-Man had 27. Anthony Davis had 36. So let's start with the T-Wolves. Obviously, the T-Wolves made a trade, bringing in Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo for Karl Anthony Towns, who is now on the New York Knicks. So looking at their starting five was Randle, McDaniels, Gobert, Conley, and Anthony Edwards. 3 guys were in double figures, and that's Rudy Gobert and Julius Randle, and with Anthony Edwards. Jaden McDaniels, 6 points. Mike Conley, 5 points. Now, that's going to be their starting five for the rest of the season, unless Mike Conley gets played out by Dante DiVincenzo, which could it's a possibility. I'll put it at that. It's a possibility. It's definitely a possibility. You got the bench players: Naz Reid, 26 minutes, 12 points. Ingles, 7 minutes, no points. I didn't even know that dude was still in the league. DiVincenzo, 32 minutes, 10 points. 3 for 11 from the field. Had an off shooting night, 2 for 8 from the 3-point line. Nickeil Alexander Walker had 14 points in 28 minutes, 5 for 7 from the field, 3 for 4 from the 3-point line. So they went 9 deep last night. I'm talking about the Timberwolves. So if you look at the Timberwolves last night, first off, let's talk about this fit and how I look at it, because I've been hearing a lot about how bad the Timberwolves look, and Julius Randle does not fit with this team. They should have never made this move. Well, I somewhat partly agree with that. Obviously, the T-Wolves went to the conference finals with Karl Anthony Towns last year, and the Knicks had Julius Randle, and they got to the conference semifinals. Now, Julius Randle was out for the playoffs, but he was playing extremely well with the New York Knicks last year before he got injured. And now they look at Julius Randle now with the Timberwolves. They said he pretty much looks out of place. He doesn't look like he's able to really fit there. So this is what I'm gonna say. Just like the Knicks, I said I'm not gonna overreact and say that because it's the first game, they got time to make things gel. There's certain things I'm not gonna overreact with the Timberwolves. First off, with Julius Randle, he had 16 points. He had 9 rebounds, 5 for 10 from the field, 1 for 3 from the 3-point line, 5 for 7 from the free throw line. So the Timberwolves, this is their second game playing together in preseason and postseason. What I think Julius Randle was doing last night was pretty much trying to play within the system. He was not really playing like bull in the china shop, only in really spot possessions. And what I mean by that is when you watch Julius Randle with the Knicks, when you watch Julius Randle with, even with the Lakers, when he was with the Lakers, he played a lot of downhill, coast to coast, bull in the china shop, get the ball, at his spots and, attack, shoot more 3-point shots, be more, have more of a green light. That's what he's used to. Now that you got an Anthony Edwards, who is pretty much his team, you got to find your spots where you're going to be effective. And for what I've seen with Julius Randle, especially last night, I saw some possessions where he would get the ball at the high post, or you get the ball at the, elbow, and he would see the floor, and he would take control of his matchup and drive and kick, or drive and get all the way into the paint. He's 6'9", 255, right? He's 6'9", 255, a physical player with athleticism and size. So I would say 9 times out of 10, he's going to be a stronger, faster player in his matchup. And that's what he has to really look at when he's playing with this Minnesota team, is to pick his matchups, because he's not going to be playing much on the perimeter unless he's having a hot night. He's going to have to learn. He's going to have to know how to play more so in the mid post and play more in that 2-point range. That's what Randall is going to need to be more so for this team. I think he can do that because he does have a very average, good jump shot, and he's strong as hell, and he's athletic, getting to the basket. So that's what I seen last night. I saw real good possessions where Julius Randle made the mismatches where the Lakers had to collapse on him, and he can go out there and kick the ball out to DiVincenzo or Nickeil Alexander-Walker, or a guy like Mike Conley, even though he was missing shots. Those shots, as long as the shots are good possessions, then they're going to fall. They're going to fall. Naz Reid last night, 12 points. I thought he was basically kind of, overwhelmed with Anthony Davis. And so he was, exerting a lot of energy on that side. So he's a sixth man of the year, but that's what he really is, a sixth man. He's not a starter. He's not a guy who's looked at as that type of player. So when you have to guard Anthony Davis, who's one of the best bigs in the league, that's going to take a lot of your energy out the way, which nobody on Minnesota can deal with last night. They put Randall on Anthony Edwards. They put Rudy Gobert on Anthony Edwards. They put Naz Reid on Anthony Edwards. And Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis had pretty much his way with everybody, which I'm going to talk to y'all about in a minute. But, yeah, that's Naz Reid. Mike Conley, obviously, like I said, had an off shooting night. Did not shoot the ball very well. Jaden McDaniels, I think his problem last night, he got into foul trouble. And this is why I tell y'all, when you get into foul trouble, he had 6 points. When you get into foul trouble like how he got into, it's hard for you to be as aggressive as you want to be. You're starting to think, okay, I just don't want to pick up any more ticky-tack fouls. And I think that's where Jaden McDaniels fell in last night. He basically was just it wasn't just him. The majority of the team wasn't being aggressive. They were taking bad shots. They were turning the ball over at the wrong times. They're just playing lackluster. I think Ant-Man got in them and said, like, let's go. Like, he was trying to get the team pumped up, because he was just like, we falling asleep out here. We're not even playing hard. Not even the fact that we're not playing again. We're not even playing hard. So that's kind of why I think McDaniels fell in, because he's their best defender. He's the guy he puts on the best offensive player. So when he's in foul trouble with 5 fouls, that takes away from his aggression as well. So, bad night for Jaden McDaniels to be in foul trouble, but it is what it is. I thought Rudy Gobert was serviceable, very serviceable last night with 13 points and 14 rebounds. I thought he was very serviceable because, even like I said, Anthony Davis had his way, Rudy Gobert definitely guarded him the best, because he wasn't basically just getting bullied. Like, I think he was bullying Naz Reid in that paint, because he's just too much. He's bigger than him. But Rudy Gobert, he's not doing that. More so, Anthony Davis's point against Rudy Gobert was more so outside jump shots. So you have to kind of live with that. But, other than that, Rudy Gobert controlled the glass real well. He scored the basketball. All those good things. So, you got to give him this credit. And then you got, Ant-Man, who went off with, 27 points, 10 for 25 from the field, 5 for 13 from the 3, and then 2 for 3 from the free throw line. So I just think last night with Ant-Man playing 41 minutes, I just think, again, he has to be careful of knowing when to shot jack and shoot, 3-point shots. Now, he did hit some last night, but you got to know, like, I think with Anthony Edwards, and that's why I think having Mike Conley so big, his decision making, there were some possessions where I saw that Julius Randle had a mismatch and Anthony Edwards still chucked up a 3-point shot. He has to look at it like, look, I can get my shot off anytime I want, but with Julius Randle being the guy on this second guy on this team and the guy that I need to come up with me, I got to get him comfortable. So if he has a mismatch, I'm giving him the basketball. So Ant-Man has to be careful, especially down the stretch of games, because they still had the Timberwolves had many opportunities to be right there, but because of bad shot selection and turnovers at the wrong time, you can't even really. It's hard for you to even get in that type of rhythm. So Ant-Man has to be careful of knowing when to shoot the ball and knowing when somebody else has a mismatch, and that's going to elevate his game to another level. Because I said 25 shots is just that's shit, and Randall gets only 10. I would like to see Anthony Edwards gets probably like somewhere between 18 and 22 shots, and let Randall get about, I would say, 13 to 16 shots. Right. As I come to hit that like button, let's go to the Lakers. All right, AD, Hachimura, LeBron, D'Lo, Reeves, starting five. Off the bench, Jackson Hayes, Gabe Vincent, Max Christie, Bronny James, and Dalton Connect. All right, so Lakers go 1-0. They win at home and take care of business against Minnesota. Very good win for them. You got 4 guys in double figures over the Lakers starting five. Reeves, LeBron, Hachimura, Anthony Davis. D'Lo had 9 points, quiet 9, but he had 5 assists. He had some good possessions in the first half. He had a nice alley-oop dunk to Jackson Hayes. He's kind of, to me, he was playing in cruise control, I think, D'Lo. But more so, Anthony Davis, it was just his night to, pretty much go off. But also somebody that played very well was Rui Hachimura, especially out the gate of the game. 7 for 14 from the field. Did not shoot the 3-ball well. 1 for 4, 3 for 4 from the free throw line. Had 5 rebounds and 2 steals. What I mean by Hachimura played well, I'm talking about he knew the matchups he needed to take advantage of. As him being 6'8", 230, he's going to have some mismatches. He's going to have some matchups where he's going to be able to take advantage of a smaller player. His confidence, his aggressiveness, to pick his spots. That's what Hachimura was doing last night. And he got some, good baskets off of that. He had a nice drive to the basket on Ant-Man, who's smaller than him. So you got a bunch of these long wings. I'm talking about the Lakers, because we already know who the Lakers tried. They wanted all these wings before they wanted to try to beat us. So they picked up Rui Hachimura. They picked up Jared Vanderbilt. They picked up Jackson Hayes. They picked up all these dudes to try to compete against the Clippers, because we were whooping their ass for like 3 years straight. They picked up all these, wings to try to beat us, and they finally got their first win against us in years last year. But that's for another story. Rui did what he was supposed to do last night, and he was efficient off of that. So shout out to him. Who else I want to talk about? Obviously the big thing with LeBron and his son Bronny. Bronny had he had a 3-point shot attempt he missed. He played 3 minutes last night. It's like I said, bro, about this whole storyline with LeBron and Bronny. I just don't feel that it's going to end well if they continuously try to push this kid out here. He does not belong there. He just doesn't belong in the NBA right now. I don't know if he's just going to altogether just, be in the G League, because, Magic said it best. He said he can't just be on the bench watching. He has to get playing time. So he's going to have to either go down to the G League, or if he truly wants to really play and he has that hunger, desire, go overseas and get your playing time. You know what I'm saying? Go overseas and get your playing time. But it's amazing that, a LeBron was able to pull this off, to have his son be in the NBA and give him playing time over proven players. Like Cam Reddish was on the bench sitting down. He didn't even touch the floor. Cam Reddish is he's a guy who's had playoff experience. He's a guy who was on the Lakers roster last year and the year before that. He was on the bench sitting down. He didn't get no minutes, no burn. right? So I'm like, damn, this is amazing that this guy was able to pull this off. But it's like I said, it was a cool moment to see father and son. I mean, that's historic stuff. But I mean, Bronny just does not belong in the league right now. So they're gonna have to. I don't know what they're gonna do after that, but I can just see that he does not belong in the league. As y'all come there, smash that like button. Um, let's talk about AD, man. Let's talk about the main attraction. Let's talk about Anthony Davis. Um, Anthony Davis last night had 37 points, and what's this? 37 or 36. He had 16 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 blocks, and 38 minutes. Shot efficient from the field, 11 for 23, 1 for 3 from the 3-point line. Did not. That's 33%, not efficient. But he made 13 out of 15 free throws. Like I said, the Lakers shot bad from the 3-point line. Shot 16%. So you ask yourself, how are they able to be comfortable throughout the entirety of the game? And I can tell one word: is it was defense, it was intensity, it was second chance opportunities, it was the possessions that swung in their momentum in their favor. Like I think the game was at 81 to 85. Nas really hit a 3 in the corner, and Minnesota was starting to close in. And as they were starting to close in, here come the Lakers. They had a dunk with Jackson Hayes, had a layup with D'Angelo Russell, a teardrop, and they had like a alley-oop pass to LeBron, and they're up by 10 points again. They blew the door back open. And then Minnesota starts to climb up again, and Anthony Davis hits a mid-range pull-up jump shot. Right? AD did everything last night. He rebounded, he scored, he hit his free throws, he was clutch, and he guarded on the other side of the ball. He guarded Anthony Edwards. So that's another elite two-way player. You can't exploit him on either side. Those are elite two-way players. So let me just put this out here, bro. Anthony Davis is now the number 1 player on this team. And I know people may say, well, BJ, has he not just been that for the last 2 seasons? Well, here's the thing. They've been trying to push this notion that LeBron is still the number 1 player, but I think now he understands deeply, like, no, this is AD's team. And I don't care what the matchup is. AD steps on that floor every single night. He should be the best player on the Lakers. Now, are there going to be games where LeBron might outscore him? Yeah, there'll probably be games where he outscores him. But going on 40 years old, it's time for LeBron to pass the torch to Anthony Davis. And I'm talking about fully pass it to him, not pass it to him and ask for it back, or I changed my nah. If you want the Lakers to be a threat at any cost, because the West is pretty much open it for people who do not know. As y'all can see, Minnesota needs to definitely get their switch back. They got to actually get their chemistry down. Denver, we got to see what they look like this year with the new acquisitions after them losing Bruce Brown and KCP and getting Russell Westbrook, who I hope he does well over there. You got OKC, who's looked at as being the favorites in the West, but they still are young themselves, and we have to see how they act. Like Isaiah Hartenstein, I think he's out with injury. You got the Mavericks, who we got to see what they look like. They were 0-5 in the preseason, even though I know it's preseason. They got a new look team over there in Dallas. I personally believe Dallas was a one-hit wonder, in my personal opinion. You got the Suns, who they're a mediocre team. You got us, the Clippers, who we need to know what the hell's going on with Kawhi. Well, that's another story I've talked about so many times. The Pelicans, they got to find out what's going on with Zion and B.I., and they got DeJounte. I think they will be good. But like I'm saying, there's no real full-out favorite in the West. So the Lakers, if they got Anthony Davis playing at that level, they got a shot. I'm not going to lie. They have a shot. AD's in his prime. He's 31 years old right now, playing the way he's playing. So they definitely have a shot if they include this man in the offense and allow him to be the guy to get the most shots night in and night out. LeBron's job to me is to facilitate, use that big body to find his cutters, take quality shots, not off sidestep threes to take your team out of rhythm, and focus more on the defensive end. That is your job, LeBron. That is now your job. Your job is not to score 25 plus a night. You should be somewhere around 18 to 22 points per game. That should be where you should be at. Anthony Davis needs to be scoring 25 plus a night. And oh yeah, by the way, Austin Reeves, D'Angelo Russell, he needs to allow them to start getting off more too. If they're having a hot night, give them the ball. Last year we saw the Lakers win 2 big games without LeBron. And then one of those games came against the World Championship Boston Celtics. So they got quality players over there, but you have to know how to actually allow them to be themselves. So it's time for the Lakers to make sure that Anthony Davis is known. I don't care if you got to announce it at practice, put a sign at the door, at the coach's office. This is Anthony Davis's team. That's what you need to do, because that, like, what I seen last night was just complete domination by Anthony Davis. I can't even lie. So we'll see what happens. But like I said, man, tonight Clippers season starts. You know what I'm saying? I will be streaming the game, either at the game or I will be doing a video after. But yeah, we will be back later tonight. Until next time, pull up a seat, pull up a chair, put a live. Peace out of here like swimwear.